have all been there. So, a few tips on how to get out of a weight loss plateau. But before I start, I want to go into a few things you should consider before you get too upset about the plateau. So first things first, there are other ways to track your progress than just the scale. So make sure that you are taking progress pictures, taking measurements, seeing how your clothes fit, seeing how you feel. So that's a big one. That's like a huge, because maybe you were feeling a little tired before, you were eating a lot of like sugars and processed foods, and then you've reduced it down, added vegetables into your diet, and now you're feeling a lot better, a lot more energetic, and a lot stronger. So also looking at your strength, seeing how your strength is playing in, because once you start like eating optimally for performance at the gym, you'll see that your strength is going up. Once you start lifting more, you'll see your strength is going up. So these are all really important, and it's a weight loss plateau is not meaning that is the end of progress and that you will not lose any more weight, but we do have to make sure that we are tracking our progress in other ways. And with that, this is still progress. Maintaining your weight is challenging. That's a hard part of the process. So weight loss is great, but maintaining the weight loss, that is progress, my friends. So make sure that you celebrate this part of the journey. Make sure that you are comfortable with the whole maintenance process. So if you're not at your goal weight yet, just relax. It's not a marathon, or it's not a sprint. It is a marathon. It's a journey. So yeah, enjoy the process and celebrate yourself for being able to maintain and not going back when the motivation starts dropping because the scale is not dropping. So yeah, I just want to get that out of the way. And then also with weight loss plateau, let's make sure that we are keeping our weighing times consistent. So making sure that we're weighing at the same time of day, preferably in the morning, fasted before we've drank too much water, before we've drank any coffee, and of course before we've eaten anything. So that will definitely keep it consistent. Even if you wake up typically at like 5:30, say, and then on the weekend you're weighing yourself and you're waking up at 9 or even 7, it's later. So you should keep that in mind while you are weighing yourself, because I know that when I sleep in, if I ate my dinner at the same time, I might end up being a little lighter just because my food has been processed a little better. So yeah, those are a few things to keep in mind. Make sure that you're weighing yourself with like the same amount of clothing on. If you're weighing yourself with clothes on, I just wear like the same pajamas, like style pajamas. So I just account for that. Like it's about the same every day. Weighing yourself in the morning, yes. And I think that's about all with weighing yourself. Just making sure that you're keeping it consistent, because that's, the other thing. I prefer weighing myself daily. I always encourage my clients to weigh themselves daily and then taking the weekly average, because if you just weigh yourself like every Saturday, you don't know, like maybe you ate later on that Friday. Maybe you always eat later on Friday because it's the weekend and you don't have to go to bed as late, or you don't have to go to bed as early because you don't have to wake up as early. And there's just so many factors that go into the scale. So stress, if you have extra stress, if you have lack of sleep, Friday night, maybe you didn't sleep as much, maybe you slept more. Food, going to the bathroom, getting that extra food out before you step on the scale, that could factor into it. Stress, sleep, food, time of the month for us females, that definitely will impact it. So I like daily weigh-ins. For me, it actually helped me mentally with seeing the number. Saw it daily. I thought it was kind of cool. You can like kind of track what is going on. Like, oh, cool. I like later last night, so maybe that's why I'm up in weight. So you can tell like certain foods that are bloating you. Like for a few days after I eat like something like oatmeal that just doesn't like digest very well for me, I'll be up a few pounds. Even inflammation, a hard workout, so having your muscles inflamed, that'll have the scale go up a little bit. So yeah, it's not always a bad thing that the scale's up. it's a good thing that if like your hormones are working properly at certain times of the month, the scale might be going up. It's a good thing when your muscles are inflamed. I mean, it's not totally good, but it's good that you're working out and having a good workout. So yeah, let's get on with so we'll kind of go over like what goes on when you're in a like calorie deficit diet phase, and some tips that I have to like challenge these sort of things to get you out of this plateau. And this will be part 1 of a 2-part series. So this is going to be like some tips, and then next time we are going to go over refeeds and cheat meals to kind of like play with your metabolism and start kickstarting stuff and see if that can help get you out of this plateau. So the first thing that I find a lot of times when people are in a weight loss plateau is that they're not tracking as well as they should be. So maybe you've lost a good amount of weight, you're feeling a little more comfortable, and you're thinking like, oh, I don't have to track all the time, or I don't have to track everything, or you're just kind of like being a little more relaxed because you're getting more used to this lifestyle. So yeah, if you're really serious and you're watching this video to get out of your weight loss plateau, I would definitely recommend going back to tracking. And if you're not tracking, then that's a good step to take so that you can monitor your calories and macronutrients that you are taking in. So this will include everything. So a lot of people, once they get a little more comfortable, they'll start taking bites from their like friends' plates, or sipping on some sodas or something that contain calories, and they're not going to necessarily track them, or maybe they're putting cream and sugar in their coffee and now they're not tracking that. So yeah, it's the bites, the drinks, the veggies that sometimes people just get a little more relaxed. Don't track, but if you're in this plateau, it's a good idea to start tracking everything. And then along with that, if you're just measuring out your food or eyeballing it, this is the time to whip at that food scale and become friends with it, because weighing out your food is much more accurate than just measuring it out. I am a baker, so that is something that every baker kind of knows. You're like measuring, and if you put it on the weight, it's usually completely different. And a lot of times, especially when we're in the deficit, we'll play the game of how much peanut butter can I fit into this tablespoon, or how much rice can I fit into this half cup. So yeah, I've been one when I used to measure out my food to make sure that peanut butter of tablespoon was rounded, or tablespoon of peanut butter was rounded, and it probably came out to about 2 tablespoons, but I only tracked 1. Yeah. So, yeah, we all like to play that game when we're in a deficit. So weighing out your food, you can't really do that. You can't really pretend like it's not the extra few grams that it is. You'll know it is. Alright, so, and then with tracking our food, we do want to make sure that we're getting optimal protein levels, because if you're watching this video, I hope that you're weightlifting, and if you're not, then let's go ahead and start weightlifting, because that is going to help us maintain and keep this weight loss off for a long term, and will probably kickstart your weight loss again if you are in this plateau. So weightlifting, just building that lean muscle mass while eating optimal protein to build your muscle mass. So having the lean muscle mass is just a huge benefit for weight loss, because first of all, you burn more calories at rest with more lean muscle mass than you do with just fat mass. And then post weightlifting session, you will continue to burn more calories, whereas with like cardio, your calorie burn will stop when you stop. So yeah, let's keep those up. And then the last thing with tracking and food related probably is fiber. So we do want to make sure that we're getting enough fiber, but also not too much fiber. So for females, I'll typically recommend 25 grams to 30, maybe 35 grams. So if you get too little fiber, then you'll start to get a little backed up. You might not be going to the restroom as regularly and clearing out your system, and you might feel a little bloated, a little inflamed. Your stomach might start feeling a little irritated. So yeah, we definitely want to make sure that we're keeping everything moving, and fiber will help with that. And then if we're getting too much fiber, it can actually help, or it can actually hinder nutrients from being absorbed into your body. So that's not good. We definitely want to make sure that we're intaking like and absorbing all the nutrients. So I never recommend like going over like 35, 40 grams at the very most. So yeah, and then for men, they can get away with closer to like 35 grams as like the lower end for them. Yeah, so make sure that you're getting enough fiber. And then also, if you're getting too much fiber, you also can get a little backed up and constipated. So just stay within that range. And then the next thing is stress. So we do not want to be too stressed out. A lot of stress will release cortisol, and cortisol is a hormone that will hinder your weight loss progress. So when we talk about stress, we're not just talking about like your typical stress of like work, family, relationships, friends, maybe you're in a fight or something. That's not the only thing. So those are definitely stressors, but we're also talking about this calorie deficit that we are in. So just being in a calorie deficit is causing your body some stress. So that's one. Lack of sleep will be a stressor as well, and intense workouts is putting a lot of stress onto your body. So those are all stressors. We want to make sure that we are getting proper recovery for our stressors. So something like workouts, we want to make sure that we're getting our rest days in and not overdoing it at the gym. And then so for my clients, I'll try to link it below. I have like a stress and recovery sheet. So you'll list out all your stressors, and for every 2 stressors, you want to have at least 1 recovery mode. So that's not much to ask for. For half the stress, you want a recovery. I don't know if I said that right, but 2-to-1 ratios. So you want to make sure that you're covering whether it's like a night in, a spa day, a hot bath, a mani-pedi, meditation, just nice reading a book, something that causes like relaxes you and you feel recovered from. So yeah, so definitely make sure that you are managing your stress very well. Another tip I have for stress management is to not stress out about things that you cannot control. It's easier said than done, but if you can't control it, there's nothing you can do about it. So there's no point putting your body through that extra stress and, causing health issues and maybe mental issues as well, just with like having so much stress in your life. So one of the examples I like to use, because we've all been there, is being stuck in a crap ton of traffic. Maybe you're on your way to like a really important meeting or something that you don't want to be late for. But you will because of this traffic. There's nothing you can do about the traffic, so just turn the music up loud and have a dance party. Just don't get pulled over by the cops, because that'll probably cause more stress. But there's still nothing you can do about that, so don't stress. Don't worry, be happy. So yeah, in all seriousness, just if you can't do anything about it, don't stress about it. Just do your best to work around the situation and make a game plan to put that situation to rest, whatever it might be. So then, speaking of rest, let's talk about sleep. So lack of sleep is a stressor, as we talked about, so it'll increase your cortisol levels, but it will also impact your workouts and your energy. So if you don't have enough energy, your workouts will probably be slacking. You're probably just not going to move around as much. You're probably not going to be burning as many calories because you're so tired and you just want to sit around and do nothing. And then another thing is that if you aren't tracking your food and monitoring it properly, or if you just don't care because you're so tired, you might be eating more, consuming more calories, since calories are energy and your body is looking for energy with a lack of sleep. So definitely making sure that we are getting our Z's in. So, like 7 to 8 hours of sleep a night. Hard. It's not easy, but that is one to get you out of this plateau and make you feel a lot better. And then the next thing will be NEAT. So that's your non-exercise activity. So of course we have like our workouts, and that's your exercise activity. So NEAT is just kind of like what I'm doing right now, moving my hands a lot. It doesn't burn much, but over time it adds up. So just like all this fidgeting, I know when I'm in a deficit, and especially when I'm in like competition prep, I don't notice it at the time, but I talk slowly. If you go back and watch my YouTube videos from prep, you'll probably notice. But yeah, I just don't have, like, my body's conserving as much energy as it can, so it's not like my body's not ready to be like, what's going on, guys? So blah, 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 blah. So you just move a lot slower, and you just don't do as much. So my tips for this would be to add in some extra cardio so that you know that you're kind of counteracting the NEAT. So that's going to be your exercise activity, the cardio, but making sure that you're getting enough cardio in, and then also maybe having like a step count or something. So having like maybe 15,000, 20,000 steps a day as your goal, so that you know that you're walking enough to kind of like maybe diminish the effects of or minimize the effects of NEAT and not doing all this fidgeting around. And you probably won't notice it. You might notice it now if you're thinking about it, but yeah, you don't really notice it until afterwards, because hindsight is everything. My friends would always be like, you're moving so slow, and I'm like, no, you're just moving so fast. No, it was me. It was totally me. But yeah, so just doing more cardio or getting more steps in to create a deeper deficit. When you're losing weight and eating less calories, your heart rate will lower, and this will make it harder to reach like your cardio and fat burning zones when you are doing cardio. So maybe like monitoring your heart rate while you are on the cardio machines and seeing like what's an optimal range for you to be in. For me personally, when I did my cardio, I wanted to be between like 140 and 160. So that'll vary depending on like your age, your weight, and everything. So don't just use the numbers I gave you. Kind of like look into like what heart rate you should be at for your cardio levels, and then maybe monitor that and make sure that you're reaching that, because you might think that your intensity is there, like on the Stairmaster. At the beginning of prep, in order to get to my heart rate zone, I probably only had to do level 7 or 8. By the end of prep, I had to do 10 to reach the same heart rate. So yeah, it's like it gets that serious. So yeah, keep that intensity up, even though it isn't something you want to do when you're in a deficit. Yeah, so you just kind of have to like increase that. And then I think the last thing I have is thermogenesis. So when you eat food, your body has to process it, and sometimes you'll notice like after a big meal, maybe like Thanksgiving dinner or something like that, you'll notice that like your body temperature you feel hot or you feel warmer, and you feel like your body temperature is increasing, and that is thermogenesis. So as your body's like digesting all the food and processing all the food, it'll heat you up, and that'll burn more calories by just like digesting the food and processing the food. But when you're in a deficit, you don't have as much and have as much food to eat, so the effects of thermogenesis are much smaller, and probably don't even really impact too much of your calorie burn. So I know when I started my off season, I got so sweaty. I was like a sweaty mess. I was like, is it hot over here? And everybody's like, no, it's fine. But yeah, so thermogenesis is a real thing, and it will just help you burn off calories. And some people will burn more due to the thermogenesis, so it just kind of depends how your body reacts to it. So you might not really notice what I'm talking about even after you eat big meals, but so some people, it depends. Everything depends on your individual body, but yeah, so some people are more affected by that. And I do have one more thing actually. So this has to do with workouts and just like everyday activities, so your non-exercise activities. When you lose weight, you lose weight. So you're not carrying around as much. Like, think about it. If you lose 20 pounds, it's a lot easier for your body to carry you around now, and you're not working so hard to carry around 20 less pounds. It's like when you're carrying a big gym bag or something, or a big backpack that's fairly heavy, or groceries. If you're carrying that for a long period of time, you're going to feel like a little more tired because it's more weight on you. But now that you shed off the weight, so however much weight it is, you're not working as hard to just like walk around, walk up and down the stairs, and like even do your cardio. So just keep that into account too, that you might not be burning as much because you're not carrying as much weight around. And a good thing I like to recommend when you're weightlifting, now this is mostly for legs because your legs will have the impact regardless. So let me just get into it. So when you lose weight, you should add weight onto like your squats or whatever, to any lower body exercise, because if you think about it, your body was actually doing whatever weight you originally had on there, plus your body weight that you have now lost. Does that make sense? So if you've lost 20 pounds, you can probably add at least like 10, 15, 20 pounds up onto your squat now that you're 20 pounds lighter. Now your energy levels will go down with the calorie deficit, as I talked about, so it might not be that simple, but if you kind of keep that weight up, and every time like you lose like 5 pounds or so, slap another 5 on there, you might be able to keep up that strength. So yeah, that's just something to consider too, is like when you lose weight, you're losing weight, so your body's not carrying around as much weight. So yeah, that's all I have for you guys for today. And I hope that this video was helpful, and I hope that the next one will be even more helpful, and I have a lot of like the next video will be a lot of fun because we're talking about actually increasing our food for a period of time. So holla at ya, who doesn't like more food? If you're in the Cake and Weights family, then you love your food. So yeah, so that'll be fun, packed with a lot of information and some good tips to kick you out of this plateau. So if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps my channel. And if you are not yet subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If you know anybody that will benefit from this video, please give it a share. We always are loving having new people come and join our family over here. So yeah, so thank you guys for watching, and stay tuned for the next one. It will be a ton of fun. Alright, so thank you guys for watching.